Hi, it's John here from GPS Training. What we're going to do in this short video is look at the best budget GPS unit currently on the market for the second quarter of 2020. So this is from the start of April to the end of June. If you've been watching these previously, I always had the eTrex 32X and the eTrex Touch 25 as the best budget GPS unit. But actually I think we've got something for the short term which I think is a really good value for money, which is the GPSMAP 64. So GPSMAP 64 has come to equation. If you've been watching these, as I said in the past, I always said the best budget GPS unit was if you want a touchscreen unit, eTrex Touch 25, or alternatively, if you want a button GPS unit, eTrex 32X. 32X, if you're using it in winter, a lot of winter walking, you've got the buttons, and if you're doing a more summer walking, or you're very much a multi-activity user because it has these fantastic profiles on the eTrex Touch 25. So again, you can set the unit up to whatever you want to do. So hiking, biking, and you can get the GPS etc to act differently into each of those activities. So if you are a multi-activity user, geocaching, cycling, walking, eTrex 25 by no shadow of doubt is the best GPS unit to go for in this budget end of the market. If you do a lot of winter walking, I say eTrex 32X is beneficial. I say slightly smaller screen on it, but quite nice clarity on that screen. But the 64 has come into the equation. We've actually just got a small number of these left. We've actually got a bulk of units from Garmin, which is 64. It's actually been discontinued, so we bought the last one, a really good solid GPS unit, and you're getting a lot of GPS unit for the screen. So you're getting a larger screen, you got the buttons down the bottom, so it's very similar to what we find in the 64SX, but it's considerably cheaper. What's the key difference between each of these GPS units is the 64 does not have an electronic compass. So as you may know, electronic compass gives you accuracy at small movements. So if you turn one of these GPS units through 90 degrees, the map will orientate accordingly because it's got the electronic compass in. So again, that's quite useful when you're out navigating in the hills, e.g. because it works off satellites 1,000 miles above. You turn it through 90 degrees, actually only move 3 inches and the map won't orientate. But with the electronic compass in, it does that. Where the 64 doesn't have that electronic compass in. So again, what you would need to do if you're outdoors is just walk 4 or 5 meters and that map will orientate accordingly. So that's the downside of the 64. But other than that, it's a cracking GPS unit. We've been selling a lot of them, and I keep saying we have got limited stock of that GPS unit. So going back to it, if you're wanting a touchscreen GPS unit, I would kind of very much look at eTrex Touch 25, especially if you're doing multi-activity uses. If you're wanting a button GPS unit, still 32, but I would also very much in the short term, because we have got limited stock, look at the 64. I said we've been selling a lot. It's a lot of GPS unit for not a lot of money. Larger screen, and you got the buttons down the bottom. So if you are happy not to have that electronic compass in, which I would be, I think it's a great GPS unit to go for. Right, once we've decided our GPS unit, the next thing we need to think about is the mapping that we have on that GPS unit. So with standard, all these come with what's called topo mapping. These two come with what's called topo active mapping, which is what we can see here on the eTrex 32X topo active mapping, which is available on both these GPS units. The 64 comes in something called topo light, which I actually really like. It's a slightly older map version, but actually it's actually better than what you find with the topo active mapping. You see the comparison on the screens if you can through the camera. It's a better option to go for. But if you can afford it, the better option is go for the Ordnance Survey mapping. This unit's got the Ordnance Survey mapping on there. When you're looking at Ordnance Survey mapping, there's a number of options you need to consider. So 1 to 25,000 bird's eye voucher. Bird's eye voucher, which enables you to download 25,000 square kilometres of 1 to 25,000 mapping. That's what's called a bird's eye plus voucher. What you do is activate that credit against your Garmin account. Then you have 1 year to download that 1 to 25,000 mapping. Ends up on both your computer and also on your GPS unit. So all these options come with that bird's eye voucher. 25,000 square kilometre, 1 to 25,000 mapping. Also, you can get these units with 1 to 50,000, this is 1 to 50,000 map card by Garmin, full GB, 1 to 50k, and it's what's called a Topo Great Britain Pro, which means that we get the turn-by-turn routing within national parks, which is that car sat-nav experience but off-road, which means if you sat at the bottom of the hill, you can tap on the top and your GPS will route you to the top of the hill, and that will give you the turn-by-turn experience only within national parks. When we're outside national parks, we're navigating what we call a direct manner from waypoint to waypoint in a straight line. So Topo Great Britain Pro is available on each of these GPS units. People say, I want one full GB, 125k. We don't actually bundle it in with these units. The reality is, why is that? Great map card, 125 full GB, also has 150k on it. It's a £349 product. So if you're paying £349 for a map card, it's actually more expensive than any of these GPS units. So I'm kind of saying, if you're going to buy a map card for £349, or I know it'd be slightly discounted, bundled in with a unit, you're more than likely be buying it to put in an Oregon 700 or a 66S or a Montana, something like that. Because really, at this end of the market, great GPS units, your map is going to cost more than what your GPS units are. So your mapping options are what the unit comes with is the Topo Active mapping or the Topo Light mapping, which again is great. Get going with it if you want to. Alternatively, a Bird's Eye Plus voucher which enables you to download 25,000 square kilometres of 125,000 mapping, or the 1 to 50k Topo Great Britain Pro map card. And again, that would be bundled with each of those GPS units. Don't forget, when you buy any GPS unit from GPS Training, we're not just saying a box with that unit in. We're going to give you a quick start guide on each specific unit, specific rated, and on there you'll also get what's called a GPST reference number, and if you get full email support and telephone support as well with that GPST reference number. You also get that quick start guide, which gets you going with Garmin Basecamp in this case, and again there's Windows and Mac versions for each of those. If you do get a Bird's Eye Plus voucher, step-by-step guide of how you activate that Bird's Eye Plus voucher and work through and how you get that mapping on that GPS unit. Don't forget, you also get telephone support, email support, and access to our online training, which you can access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's packed full of videos, which are video units specific on how to use each of these GPS units. So to summarise, the best budget GPS unit for the second quarter of 2020 is either the eTrex Touch 25 if you're looking for a touchscreen unit, or alternatively you're looking for a button GPS unit. The choice is yours between the 64 or the eTrex 32X. I personally would go for the 64. Great value for money, but again, you might like the compact shape and the modern mapping. This is the Topo Active mapping that we find on the 32X. I hope this has helped. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us ourselves at GPS Training. And yeah, hope this has helped in helping you choose the correct GPS unit for you.